joining everybody. As I said in my note, I realized it's kind of we're getting into the doldrums of summer. So I'm glad to have critical mass here, and not a lot of citizen participation right now, but we'll see if we get a few more. First item on the agenda, which you all should have received, was approval of the minutes, which Ms. Lauer so capably drafted. There was one item that came up after they were distributed, which was the question about whether Jen had been appointed or not. I could have sworn that somebody had said at the last meeting that she had been, sworn in, but I guess that's not the case. So I think that point in the minutes should be changed. But short of that, were there any other comments on the minutes?
Yeah, John, I saw just a couple of things that didn't quite make it into the minutes. During the updates from the town manager had announced that, just passed on the governor's announcement that alcoholic beverages could now be sold to go through restaurants. And Beth was talking a little bit about how the town was going to at least explore the opportunity to see if some partial relief for liquor license fees could be extended to restaurants to help. So I thought it was important to make sure those items made it into the minutes. And I just wanted to clarify in the section that's talking about the picnic tables and then how the library has put some bistro tables out front. The last sentence of that paragraph says the town will arrange for regular cleaning. I think we just need to say of the picnic tables, because unless there is an understanding that they'll be cleaning the library bistro tables, but I don't think that's the case.
That's good clarification. I was hoping they were going to be. But,
maybe they will. I don't know. We'll have to ask Beth when she gets on. But
okay.
That was it for me.
Okay. So Ruth, did you can you make those modifications?
Yes, I see those. Thank you.
Any other comments in the minutes? In that case, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second, Jennifer?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hands, please. Actually, we got to do this by roll call. So I'm going to go around my window. Steve Verrill, you're first. How do you vote?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Cato?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Ramon?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
And I'm on the phone. It's Jan Turnquist. I vote aye.
Oh, hi, Jane.
Hello.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is updates from the town, but since Beth isn't here and Stephen isn't here, why don't we jump to the updates from Concord together, and we'll come back to the update from the town when Beth joins. Jennifer, since I was on the last call, would you like to give the update?
Sure. I do see Deborah's trying to get in. So can you email her the link while I'm updating Concord together?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So Concord Together is chugging along nicely. They have made their first round of grants, and they've distributed grants to 21 small businesses at this point. We're close to reaching our match grant threshold as of the end of last week. We still needed $27,000 to reach a $100,000 grant match. A newspaper article went out this week calling on the town to try to help us meet that goal. If Concord Together can reach that goal, they'll be able to help another 50 businesses with additional grants. The feedback from the recipients has been very heartwarming and definitely greatly appreciated by the businesses who have received grants so far. We're also, still in the last couple of weeks of the summer solstice event. We just did a live drawing today. There's a drawing every Wednesday. That has been, I would say, a resounding success. We have well over 150 passports that have been passed in. And that represents for each passport 10 local shops or restaurants that have been frequented. The little hat we have to pull the cards is kind of overflowing at this point. We might need a bigger boat for next week. And the feedback from the merchants has been wonderful. Not only have they seen an uptick in foot traffic, but also on sort of the softer measurement side, several of the merchants have said they just really feel strongly supported by the town, which is really nice to hear. So the summer solstice event comes to an end on August 20th. That's when the grand prize drawing is being pulled. I think there's 2 more drawings before then. And it's been such a successful event that Concord Together's decided to do a fall event called Fall in Love with Concord. And there'll be a fall foliage type of theme to continue that momentum and really encourage local support of our small businesses. Several of the participants in Concord Together have continued the momentum around an impromptu sidewalk sale that happened. There's going to be another one on August, I believe, 15th. Beth, not to put you on the spot, but you can let me know if I'm right or wrong. Actually, Jen McGonigal, you're one of the organizers.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that sidewalk sale?
Yeah. So it's actually, it's really exciting. Beth Williams sent me an email on Monday just asking if, saying that Concord Center was doing one and would I be interested in participating? And I said, definitely. And then we talked about, did I think anybody else would be interested in West Concord? And I offered to send out an email to we have a list that has most of the business on it. And so I sent out saying, this is what's going on. Would anybody be interested? And we have at least 10 businesses. And it's like a great range. So it's like Joy Street, Firefly, Saltbox Kitchen, 5 and 10 Deborah's, one of the ice cream, Reasons to Be Cheerful. One of the guys, I'm forgetting his name, but he owns a space or rents a space above Deborah's. He does, I'm not really good at, but like some sort of healing and just things that are good for your body.
Oh yeah, the wellness center, Jonathan.
John, I think it's John something. Jonathan
Glass. Jonathan Glass.
Yes. And I believe that the New Leaf is doing something, and somebody else is opening up. And the pharmacy wants to do it. So I'm really excited. Like it's a good. Oh, and Gem is doing it next to Saltbox. So I think that'll be really nice. I have to admit, I wish I could talk to someone in Concord Center that had a store and did it, because I don't really exactly know how I'm going to figure out social distancing, but all I know is when they gave me the opportunity, I said yes, and I'll figure it out.
Talk to Marie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can connect you, or I would just talk to Marie.
Okay.
The town also has like strips of distance markers. They're on a roll. So like I gave some to Peter at the cheese shop when he was doing it. So, and I think Stephen Crane ordered another roll of them. So,
cool. And hello, by the way, I didn't know you were on the phone.
Hi, Jen. Yeah, I just got here. I had to pick up the
Oh, good.
I
am really excited. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. So yeah, we have, I think, 10 or 15 from West Concord and 15 to 20 from Concord Center.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll just have to put the word out. Maybe the business partnership folks there's a flyer.
There's a flyer. Now, it doesn't say the time on it. And I know, Beth, you said Concord Center's doing 10 to 4. That feels a little, I haven't checked with everyone else, but for me, it feels a little bit long, mostly because my final core staff person is leaving for college, and this Saturday's her last day.
And that's why we didn't put a time on the flyer.
Okay.
Because it's up to every individual business. Some business may just be for the morning. I think by having it have the whole day, people are going to gradually come and go. So we didn't want to say it's 10 to 1 and then have a surge of people downtown. So
got it. Okay. So that's good. So
that was the idea. So was to just not put a time on it at all. It's Saturday. We didn't list the people that are participating. It's just an open invitation to come downtown that day, go to West Concord, get lunch out, shop, go over to the Umbrella and see the picnic table covers being painted.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
Buy lunch.
Hi,
Lunch.
Deborah.
Buy lunch, go
Sorry
shopping.
for the mix-up.
Oh, you can't hear Deborah.
Yeah. Hi, Deborah. I think she's still logging in. Well, that's really exciting. So that's been a nice continuation of the momentum with Concord Together. The picnic table painting is the same day. And then the only other update out of Concord Together is maybe, John, I haven't checked my email recently. Do we have a draft survey or do we? No, not yet.
We don't have a draft survey, and I thought that
Jen,
I have,
do you know how to unmute in Zoom? Do you know how to get me so I can hear this talk? I
You're,
mean, I'm supposed to be meeting I was supposed to be in, and I'm just now getting in, and I cannot
can-
figure out how to get so I
Jeremy,
hear
can you-
me.
can you mute her temporarily?
Deborah, we hear you. We hear
If you
you.
don't, just say, because I just
have to gather my surroundings.
Deborah, we hear you.
I see those. I can't hear a damn thing.
Click on that maybe?
Jeremy, why don't you mute her temporarily? Good.
If
I want
you
her to
could
go out.
hear us, I'd say to tell her to come leave and then come back in, but I'm not.
I can-
It's probably her microphone.
I think we'll have to hope that she can figure it out. It's funny, I can hear her key clicking.
That's me. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
typing to her.
Anyhow, so let me address the issue with the survey. The idea behind the survey was to capture a fresh wave of data on how things are going for businesses. And I thought we would get input from the group today, since rather than putting something together, I wanted to get a sense from the group as to what kind of data would be interesting. And so, I think it would be helpful to get some trend data on how sales are going, relative to last year, relative to last week. So, both, year-to-year comparisons and also kind of current trends in terms of, have things picked up over the last month or so. I also thought it would be helpful to get a sense of just how businesses are doing. Are people feeling better than they were, a couple of months ago? Are people feeling kind of more on edge, but kind of a sentiment question or two? What else do we think would be most helpful? Beth, for any, I don't know if we have anything that we're thinking of applying for. If there are any other bits of information that would be helpful, I'd love to hear input.
I get regular updates from Plymouth because they're sort of like a tourism partner for me. And they sent out a series of surveys to businesses and attractions. I'll look and see what questions they asked, or I'll send it along and see if there's anything that might be useful for us. I've been sending those off to Marcia and Steven because it's really interesting to collect data. And I like that Plymouth is similar enough in that they're tourism friendly to be able to use that data. So, for me, I've heard a lot of really positive anecdotal feedback. Little upticks here and there, like we're not going to turn the economy around this fall. We're in it for a long haul. The recovery is going to take a year. Some businesses are just not going to survive no matter what we could do, and the country is hurting all over the place. So, but I am comforted when businesses stop in. Kamina today stopped in to do the drawing for Concord Together. They had some really positive feedback about an uptick in foot traffic, and so some of the other, and I know Main Street Cafe has been busy, every day I walk by. So I think there are some businesses that are starting to see an uptick just from my perspective. And the foot traffic has remained pretty steady for us at the visitor center.
Okay. Jennifer.
John, one thing that we started to dig into last meeting that I think would be super helpful in a survey, if this committee is going to do some serious work to help prepare for the holiday season, we've got this real capacity issue, both with the shops and the restaurants, in that we're limited about the number of people we can have inside. So maybe we could tease out a few questions about what we could do to help alleviate some of the pressure points around holiday sales. I know there's a bigger question of e-commerce, but even something like we talked about last time about maybe talking to some of the landlords of some of the empty storefronts to see if we could use those spaces for, say, gift wrapping that normally would happen inside stores like Dawn's. And if there's a need for delivery service or support, just to tease out areas where we think we could be helpful, or even just ask an open-ended question of what could we do to support you to get ready for the holiday season.
It's a great idea. Okay.
I think what goes along with that too would be employee count, especially as people are staffing up for the holiday season too, to talk about, how people are dealing with that and, what was their staff 12 months ago now and 12 months ago and, in 3 months. Some questions along that line.
Good one. Okay. Mark?
Sort of going back to sort of Jennifer's summary, I'm wondering, I guess first the question is, has sort of a summary or progress to date been published and circulated? And if so, where? And if not, I think that part of sort of filling out summaries is sort of understanding the environment, and maybe the summary itself would be an appropriate place just to give a short blurb as to maybe some of the positive trends, some of the Concord Together positive steps that have happened, so that people are being surveyed, maybe in the context of that progress, and they can always say, gee, yes, I'm riding that wave, or gee, I'm not seeing that at all. I'm just wondering how to sort of update people who may not be as close to this as you and John are, to sort of, again, build context.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good idea. Good idea. Maybe we could have a question or a couple of questions that basically list some of the things that have been happening. For example, the solstice, to find out, are people participating? Has it helped them? So that's a good thought. Make sure they understand all the efforts that's been made.
I was thinking if we want to add some specifics, it might help us even more. Like you were saying with the infrastructure, like, do we add a question like, if the town approved non-propane heaters, would you be interested, or would you be able to do outdoor? I'm thinking sometimes people have a hard time coming up with what they need. I've heard that a lot. We don't know what we don't know. So I know, like, some feedback I've gotten in regards to the online retailing is bandwidth and website. We know that the cellular service in this town isn't great, and the Wi-Fi. So, if enough people mention that, then, I know it's on the town management's radar that is a big problem for the town. But I think if they realize, if they're hearing from a retailer association, that not only does it impact public safety and, just general nuisance to people that are trying to connect, but it impacts the retailer's ability to run e-commerce sites. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking the more specific we can ask, we might get better feedback.
Okay. Are there questions to add on the Salem survey? On the Plymouth survey?
Yeah, I'll find what I can and I'll send it along so we can.
And feel free to send along the whole thing with any
Okay.
Call out anything you think would be particularly important for the town.
Right.
And this is Jen real quick. I have an idea for something that could be, it just dawned on me, that could be fun for the fall and holiday. And I don't know where we'd get approval or interest, but is this the time to share that, or should I share it later?
If you want to share it now, it's fine. If it takes a lot of discussion, we'll do it. It could go to Concord Together. We can talk about it later. What's the idea?
Okay. So one of the things that I just thought of, that, because the whole thing is getting people inside when it's colder out and stuff like that, is, I don't know if you guys have ever been to these, but they have in New York City, and they have them, I haven't been to the Germany ones, but these holiday markets that are outside, and they're absolutely so much fun. And I wonder, at least in West Concord, if we could ever rent the parking lot of Woods Hill Table, or maybe rent something, and we could actually have outdoor holiday markets that you could socially distance, but it could be kind of fun. We could have, I don't know if we could have fire pits, or people could be selling food or cocoa and stuff like that. And that might be another way to, you could still have your store open, but maybe have and even if it were just one weekend or one day, it just might be something that could be fun and inviting and not as scary for customers. I don't know, just a thought.
I think that's an excellent idea. So my daughter studied abroad a couple of years ago in Strasbourg, France, and Strasbourg is famous for its Christmas market.
Yeah,
It really is awesome. I mean, there are hundreds of vendors out, and as you say,
right.
they're serving food, they're serving, selling crafts, selling all kinds of stuff, clothing. That would be a really fun event to consider.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking where there would be open space, but you could even maybe, I don't know if you'd have to look at, would it wreck the yard, but like Ride Out, we could do Ride Out or Emerson.
We could do it at the Bradford Mill parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. If they would mind. So anyway, that's an idea that I could just see, and you could find places in Concord Center that could have it too.
Yeah, that's a terrific idea. Terrific idea.
Okay.
So why don't we note that idea, and then maybe we can talk about it in the Concord Together call.
Okay.
Okay. So that gives me some good input. Any other thoughts on survey before we move on?
I was just going to add along the lines of some of the other questioning of what people would think would make the biggest difference for them, right? So I want to make sure that we're focusing on areas that actually matter to the businesses. And sometimes, there's a lot of effort put into certain things that don't really make a big difference, unfortunately. I mean, every little bit helps, but I just want to kind of get from the business owner's perspective. And also if they're hearing anything consistently, what's the biggest, I guess, roadblock that they see, maybe from the guests, like are the people telling them something, that are they afraid to go inside? Are they afraid, what's the major complaint that they're hearing from their customers?
Good idea. On the issue about the biggest difference makers, are there things that you have in mind? Like I think this, prompting with a few ideas and then having an open-ended field would be good. Are there examples? What policies? What do you have in mind?
A couple of thoughts that the social spacing is the biggest problem with us, and especially as we get into the next couple months that are highest traffic months of the year, and we're trying to do a complete rearrangement of furniture to try to improve traffic patterns and things, but it really is a problem to get the number of people through that you have to buy the corn and tomatoes and not have them too close together. And we do have the tent here and space that anybody's welcome to use if they want a place undercover to do some activity or something. They're welcome to it. As far as the propane heaters go, it strikes me that if we demand more renewable energy, there's no more that's going to be produced. I think it's a finite amount that's being produced now, and if we bid up the price more, it might create a little more input, but by and large, if we buy or use more energy, the extra energy is going to come from fossil fuel someplace. Yeah, am I not thinking right about something?
Are you saying therefore we should not be considering that?
Yeah, not limiting it. That I mean, we can buy renewable energy that we weren't buying before, but it's going to replace fossil fuel someplace.
Well, I do think that Stephen last time said he was looking into an alternative that would not require fossil fuels. I'm not sure what that was. Beth, do you have any more information?
I know Stephen did some really quick research to discover that on the Concord books, when like the propane is it's not allowed or something. Like there was some clause, but obviously the times are changing. So I do think like there's a lot of bylaws currently being re-looked at. So I wouldn't outright say no to anything. Clearly the town select board has like immediately responded and changed a bunch of bylaws already and made emergency, exceptions. So, but I do think there was something, and Marcia may remember about the propane heaters, but I know it was worth looking at, and Kate Carr was going to get in touch with Newburyport, I think, because they allow them.
Yeah.
I don't think it was so much that propane heaters weren't allowed. He was concerned that propane's considered a fossil fuel.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
So he was looking at alternatives, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
I think it also requires certain permits depending on the size, just because of the proximity. I thought I saw that in one of the notes from last week. Two things I wanted to build on, what Jen was saying, and it'd be interesting to find out in the survey how many people they need to get into the buildings of the restaurants over the next couple months to have a good year. Because Marie Foley made a very interesting comment yesterday to me that she needed so many people in, and I thought she meant over the period of 3 or 4 months, but she meant per hour to really do well. And understanding what those parameters are among all the businesses may help kind of formulate a plan on doing the outside events and how many there needs to be. It just seemed like I was shocked by the number of people she needed to get into her building on an hourly basis to really sustain herself. And I'm sure that's probably true of many other businesses as well. The other thing on the survey, I've been amazed by the enthusiasm of people submitting the passports. And I'm wondering if there's some data there regarding why are they doing that? Are they doing it because they want to win? Are they doing it because they want to shop? If they want to shop and then finding out that they really like the stores and they like what they're selling because they hadn't really done it before, that would be great promotional material to gather. And I pass them on to Beth on a periodic basis, but the enthusiasm in which people submit their passports to me is really, I find very interesting, and there's got to be some more data there to gather from that.
Just merely in terms of trumpeting successes, I mean, it would be interesting to know, Jennifer, how many completed passports have been submitted, and multiply that times 10 or whatever, and that's how many store visits there have been related to the passport initiative, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have them all. I keep them all week to week, and I'm happy to tell you that there are different businesses every passport that comes in. For a while I saw just a couple, but I'm now seeing all of them. Like there's a ton of stores participating, very few that are not stamping or participating. Like I'm happy if I have a staff person that has some downtime, I'm happy to have them go through and like sort of just tally up the number of different stores that are represented. We definitely have over 100. We have just a
stores
few
represented.
Oh yeah, at least. I mean, no, 100 passports in. But I mean, I have stores, like Vero Farm is on half of them. The Concord Bookshop is on a lot of them, and Deborah's. But I saw Artinian Jewelers for the first time. I've seen Kamina, and Kamina came in today to do the drawing. Then went back and told her staff, and some of her staff came to the visitor center, said, oh, she said I had to see what's in the visitor center. And I'm like, well, there's another win for me. Like, that was totally unanticipated win, like she came in to buy a tchotchke for her grandkid, so to me, it's like, oh, we're making sure Concord knows what Concord has. And some of the feedback, like Jennifer got Matt Boger to record live, like that first week, because he came in gushing about Concord Solstice, and, never mind what the prize is that Concord businesses survive. And I do think that I am hearing that a lot. Like people come in and they don't just drop and go. They stop and say, this is a great idea. I found a store I don't know. This makes me think twice about shopping in Acton versus Concord, So I do think it has really positive, but I'd love to hear from the stores if they can say how many checks have been turned in. That I would really like to know. How many of the gift checks have been in?
48 hours.
Because people are so excited to get an extra $10 to spend, and I'm sure they're not spending $10 at the store they go to. They're spending 20 or 30 or, so I'm really curious if the stores are tracking that response.
Okay. Well, so I think this is great input for the survey. I'm going to try to put together a draft tonight, so that'll be ready for the Concord Together meeting tomorrow. We'll try to polish it up then, and then get something launched, this weekend or early next week, so that when we meet.
I just have one thing. I'm sorry. I realized I was muted before. And this may have already really been pretty much covered by that idea of any complaints that people have. But I was just thinking that if the store in each store could ask, maybe just to have a pad of paper or something to ask for any feedback, positive, negative, anything, any comments about any aspect, because you never know what people will just come up with. We've had some real luck doing that at Orchard House when we were open. And we were surprised at the things that people would think of to say.
Okay. That's something that's worth communicating along with the survey. That's great. Okay.
Curious.
Hey, John or Jane, that was really interesting. I've never looked at my sales as far as how many people I had to have come in the door, but I just did a quick count. So last year from October 1st through December 31st, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I had 5,000 sales, which if you basically just say the number of days I'm open, I had like averaged 55 sales a day. And that was being open 7 days a week. And now I'm open 4 days a week. But anyway, and that's staffing. Hopefully I'll get more, but that's interesting to look at it that way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people if you talk. So it ends up being like per hour. It was basically like 8 to 10 sales per hour.
That's a really good specific metric to ask people, because most people should know how many sales they're doing, how many transactions per day or per week or per period. So
yeah, I kind of look at all of it, but I've never looked at, and then actually it'd be interesting to look at what November and December were, because that was probably different. But anyway, I can get some more stats of mine and share it if it's helpful.
okay, that would be helpful, and we can talk about this tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I think go through the way the question is worded, so that it's going to get good data from people and be able to be answered, as opposed to be baffling when people see the question. Okay, so that is it for the Concord Together update now. Beth, we postponed the town update pending your arrival. So is there anything you'd like to address with regard to reopening or the movie night or anything else?
The reopening is really status quo. Most of the town buildings remain closed to the public. I will say we have gotten a lot of visitors that are local residents that are new to Concord coming in for questions. So I did talk to the town management staff, and they did assure me that there are 3 people answering phones Monday through Friday at the town clerk's office. So we've just been giving out that phone number, and you can drop off paperwork. They've got kids that need to enroll in school and pay bills, register to vote. So there's a lot of those questions out there. So the town hall is about to undergo massive renovations. So offices are moving and there's going to be construction, but I did make sure they knew that people are asking for that kind of service. And I asked for the website to be updated with, if you need to reach somebody for voting, go here. So I did put in that request with Erin, our public information officer. So I'm hoping that helps some of that. And it is helpful that I am a town building, the only town building open to the public. So anybody that I've met, I'm like, come in and ask me. I may not be able to answer, but at least I can connect them and help them figure out where to go. So that's been just nice to be able to have that, for me to be open. It's been really nice. And in terms of other stuff, the drive-in movie, the first one sold out, the second one sold out. We had 70 plus cars for the first one. I've got 90 plus for the second one, which is next Thursday, the 13th. Massachusetts has issued drive-in movie recommendations. I know we shouldn't be surprised. Everybody has to remain in their vehicle, so we can't let people sit outside their vehicle. They can still sit with their trunk open. So that's pretty much the only change for the second movie night. And people are really happy. It's a free event. It's a work in progress. We've never done it before, so it definitely required a little bit of patience and ingenuity. We had a few technical things with the screen, and movies don't start exactly at 8 o'clock because they're waiting for it to get dark. So we all had a little bit of a learning curve, but overall the feedback was tremendously positive.
That's awesome.
Thanks. And we now have a request for a third one. So Rick Cleary, my volunteer partner, are in the process of looking to see about sponsorships because the town cannot afford a third one. The town can't fit the bill for the third one. I could handle the organizing of a third one, but we need it to be funded. So I've talked to a couple of people so far. So if that can be funded, we already have tentative approval from the school department that we could host a third one in their parking lot.
Do you mind me asking what it costs to run that?
Each event is approximately $5,000.
Wow.
So it's not cheap because you have to rent 2 screens.
Yep.
One event is only 2,500, so it's literally cut in half, but the parking lot is 500 feet wide. So in order to be able to maximize the cars, we have to have the second screen. So they need 2 crews to run it. It's a company that comes in and does it, which is great because then we don't have to worry about not knowing anything about FM transmitters and all of that stuff. So, you know, we looked at charging, and we really don't want to charge for a couple reasons. One is you kind of get into some sticky situation with the rights for the movies to show. It's really inexpensive to buy the movie or to use the movie if you don't charge a fee, and just sort of collect donations. If you start publicizing it and charging for it, they want to try to capture more money from you in terms of percent of gate. So, but I mean, if we could get 3 sponsors at $1,000 or 2 at 2,500, you know, if people were interested, you know, then maybe we can look at like another model, like we do it for free, but have that particular sponsor come on site and sell something and make a profit, you know, be able to do it. You know, I've had a couple of people interested in doing it as a fundraiser. So those are all things that we're sort of discussing. But, you know.
Go ahead, Steve.
If people have to stay in the cars, can you use every space now instead of every second one?
So it's still a viewing angle problem. So the town engineer has done a whole bunch of drawings. We can probably get a couple more cars in, but people also have to be patient with the parking. So we have volunteers doing the parking. So you really have to line everybody up just so to be able to maximize the viewing angle. So it really needed an engineer to help with the parking, way beyond, thankfully my husband's an engineer and can interpret engineering drawings, and came that night and parked the cars with a bunch of teenage helpers. So
It was awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Awesome.
You want everybody to have a good view and hear and, you know, do some socially distant mingling is totally fine.
Hey Beth, was there a direct tie into the businesses in any way?
So what we did was we asked the restaurants to come up with a menu item, and we promoted it on social. Everybody that came to the movie got an email with a link to what all the restaurants were offering. Some of them did really well. I know a bunch of pizzas were sold. I know a bunch of snacks were sold through Concord Market. The cheese shop sold some dinners. So not a ton of business, but you know, at least we got the word out there. And I just, tomorrow, the first email goes out for next week with the list of who's participating and what they're offering. And some people did some fun stuff. Like I know Trails End or the Market's going to do like a green shake for Shrek, and Cheese Shop did like Lost Ark sandwich. I told them to change it and call it an ogre sandwich and be done with it.
I think that'll be a good question to ask in the survey, whether you know, the restaurants felt a little surge from the movie night.
Yeah.
Also, we need to just, to be fair, the restaurants had less than a week notice to pull something together.
Yeah.
So, you know, now they've got more time.
Yeah.
They've known for a few weeks. Hopefully we'll see more.
Yeah, and the ones that are already offering box meals, that's the easiest for them because they just say, yes, we offer box meals, period. Like they didn't have to come up with anything creative. So there was definitely a benefit to those restaurants that already had a model, or like a pizza place or something that's used to being grab and go.
One thought, we could potentially pass out passports to all the cars when they come.
Ooh, great idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a great idea.
Because I think,
and I'm happy to help with that too, because we're signed up for the next one. Okay. So I'm happy, anything we can, if you need help.
I've got another question just about the town and distancing. I mean, clearly distancing is a big problem.
Yep.
I heard, although I don't know if it was confirmed, that the governor has said that distancing in schools can be 3 feet instead of 6 feet.
Right.
I'm wondering, does the town have any jurisdiction over that? In other words, can the town say that, you know, during the holiday season, we can have, you know, 3 foot distancing instead of 6? So is that something that's within our control?
That's completely out of their control. It has to be a CDC recommendation made by the governors. So, and honestly, from little I know about my district, our school actually said 3 feet's not enough. We think kids need more than that. And Some of the classrooms can't even accommodate 3 feet, so never mind 6 feet. So my district's doing a hybrid, which is what Concord is doing as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I do not believe that individual towns have any say over that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else in terms of updates from the town, or should we move on?
I don't think I have anything else unless Marcia does.
Hi,
I don't
Marcia.
have anything to add.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Beth. Great positive energy. Amazing. I think you guys are doing a lot of good stuff, so we appreciate it. Anyone else on the committee have updates, ideas, stuff they would like to share? Dawn, you've been kind of quiet today. You're usually full of good ideas.
Myself muted. I don't have an update to share, but I've got a question on the passport. Beth, do you have any data or just anecdotal about, are those, most of the people we're seeing in the bookshop are people we know. You know, they're shoppers who've been in before. They are all so happy to be back in the door. Even the web orders I'm getting often have a comment saying, you know, so glad you're open. We'll be in Tuesday to pick this up. So most of the people that come through our door, we know, or they're at least familiar. What does the passport data show? Are there visitors or are they mostly local people?
They're almost all local. And in fact, I had a conversation with Amy at Camina today that comparing her store in Concord with the store in Wellesley. And she found the data from her stores is that Concord has much more loyalists. So that the Concord store is seeing those people, as you say, that they already know and that are happy to be back and they're happy to support local. So I thought that was really good feedback from her.
I wonder if we could put just a very simple line on to ask the zip code for the person who's submitting the passport. And that would give us real data on where people are actually from.
I mean, I can tell you the people that have won are all Concord residents because they come right away and they're all excited to win their prize. So they clearly come from a very close distance. And some have given us addresses. So we can certainly eyeball the ones that gave us an address. And I would bet 95% are Concord.
Yeah. Jennifer.
You know, if we think that most of these folks are local, and I do believe they all gave us an email on their passport, maybe we devise a separate survey for the passport participants.
Yeah, that's
a great idea.
Some sort of motivation. You know, you could get say 2 of the $10 gift cards. We'll do a drawing or something just to get people to answer.
I actually had somebody redeem, they won a Joy Street gift card from the passport and they came in and redeemed it. They were like super psyched.
You spend more than just the gift card, I hope?
No, they were, so it was a $25 gift, spent $24.83.
Really?
And they did, yeah, but they did know about the business and, you know, I think it was a husband and wife that came in and the wife had said she was a shopper. I didn't recognize her, so she wasn't a regular, but hey, they were happy about it and I was happy about it.
Cool.
They'll be back.
Yeah.
All right. Dawn, anything else? Anybody else have info? Jennifer.
So this is just a update from committee members. I just wanted everyone here to know that we are putting our fall issue together for Discover Concord magazine. And we usually have a section on things to see and do. You probably noticed we didn't have one in the summer because everything's changing so quickly. And I kind of hesitate for the fall also, just because everything is in such flux. But if there are any definite events or things that folks know they're going to do in the fall, could you just email me? Because we want to make sure we're including all of that in the magazine.
What's your deadline?
In material to me by like the 12th
of August.
Yeah, publication will come out in September. That's for content ideas. Other stuff we can talk offline. But like, if you could probably squeeze it in a few days after that. But just like Ag Day, do we know for sure if it's happening? It still sounded like it was up in the air last time.
I got something emailed like it's going to be modified, maybe.
Yeah, they're looking.
And it's going to be down by the water.
They're looking at alternative locations and how they can socially distance. And also it can't be called a festival because festivals are currently not allowed under the governor's orders. So farmers markets are allowed. So I think some of it is just a technical wording. But as far as I know, they're still working on a plan and it's not ruled out or in yet.
Yeah, see,
Right.
that's the challenge. Our publication schedule is a little bit of lead time, so we may just not have a things to see and do section in the fall. And anyway, I don't want to distract the committee too much, but if people know of things for sure, just there's an open invitation to let us know about it.
I
know
think
we
the
won't-
decision will be made this week.
Oh, for Ag Day? Okay.
Yes.
Deborah, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say, we know we're not going to do Discover Wisconsin Day because that's all about the crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Steve and I, I'm sure, are both wondering and worried about what we're doing with turkeys.
We can add a question to the survey, Deborah, asking where everyone's planning to get their turkeys and direct them away. Okay. Any further updates from committee members?
If I can just add a couple of quick things,
Sure, man.
So a couple of things about the, I've been experiencing in other towns trying to drive local business. I know there's a lot of push on social media to shop local. I'm not sure what the town's social media presence is like in Concord specifically, but Newton Needham is doing a Save Newton restaurants, Save Needham restaurants, and they're reaching out to the city officials to see like how can the town help, and is there a way that we can help whether the town officials are tweet or post from establishments that they're there to just give the public some confidence that it's okay to go out, and giving some of that. So I don't know if Concord has as much of a presence on social media with the hashtags that might work, like Save Concord, trying to get as specific as possible versus just the broader, shop local or dine local, something that's really specific to Concord, to our point where there's a lot of loyalty that's in this town. So some companies and some people I think have a stronger social media presence. So I don't know if that has the same traction or appeal here. It would, but it seems like it's gotten a lot of positive feedback in the other communities. So that was an idea that I think that if we could find the hashtags that work, especially for Concord. And one other thing about
Pause for 1 second there, Ramon, if you could. Just a thought. I think that's an excellent idea, and I'm recalling the way some restaurants did this whole feed the front lines thing in the early days of the pandemics. And for those of you who weren't aware of how that was done, there were a number of restaurants who basically got donations from people to pay the cost of meals, which were delivered to hospitals, so that the frontline workers had good, high quality, free food while they were, battling on all of our behalf. I wonder if we could do, something. It wouldn't be the same thing, but what if we did a Save Concord's Restaurants campaign of some kind, and perhaps we could get a group. Jennifer, maybe we do this through Concord Together since we can't be convening this group together, but let's think about an initiative we can do to really focus attention on the importance of patronizing all the Concord restaurants now.
Concord in general, so it doesn't just, specific, it could be all, retail as well, but just to bring people out and to really focus on the local landscape. Obviously, I'm speaking specifically for restaurants, but this could be a broader retail, initiative as well.
Yeah.
And the other side of it too, something else that, I've been thinking, I'm not a big fan of restaurant weeks. Boston has a big promotion they've done a couple of times a year, and certain towns do it, but something I think that we have to be reminded these days, and something to be like a week-long event where, one-day events are great, but it's just not enough usually, but how can we do something that's a little bit more sustained, a little longer? So maybe we do a week-long, event or a week-long something, and we can call it like, Concord, Concord Dine Out or Concord Shop Out or Concord Local, and then be able to really promote. And whether it's an offer or not, that's really up to the individual establishment. But, it's 2020, you could do, I don't know, we could create a menu for $20 entrees, and every business something that's a little like, I'm not a marketing person, so somebody else probably has a better idea, but, just, it's been done, it's been proven to be successful. And I think we need to go back to that where it's the town can really get around promoting it typically a local chamber will do something like this, or there's a local, organization. I don't know, but for Concord, whether it's, any, we just gotta really try to get the town into it, because we're always looking to see what can the town do to help. So whether it's them providing the PR or marketing funds potentially, is there a way that they could allocate some of their emergency funds for this? Because it's critical to, sorry.
I have an idea.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm all for the
I
idea.
have an idea.
I just throw it out there and see what sticks. So it's all
Sorry, I was just raising my hand.
We actually initiated these discussions about 4 or 5 months ago to have a restaurant week in Concord. Fiorella's was part of it, Paparazzi, Colonial Inn, and I'm forgetting our one. And there was quite a bit of enthusiasm for those meetings. Of course, the pandemic occurred, as we started the discussions in March. But there was also a strong feeling that it might be good to have it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but my recollection was we would have this. They thought that it might be good in the fall when people got back, or late, or I'm trying to remember the time frame. March was the best, but we were already discussing it in March, so it wasn't going to work at that point. Because we were also competing with Boston.
Yeah, if I remember, Lisa Lacoste, who is the food and beverage manager at the inn, and talked to Jane and me about, was trying to tap into the Boston Restaurant Week so that we could use the hashtag for Restaurant Week and get sort of more promotion. But I don't think it went anywhere. I don't know if there was not enough restaurants interested or nobody put together a plan. Oh, Jen, go ahead.
It was the pandemic that stopped for the discussions, because we met at the end of February, March.
Let me speak, please. Thank you. So I have a big idea. It's probably crazy, but here we go. Concord is starting school with a hybrid program, right? The kids will be in school some days, but not in others. Isn't there a line item in the school budget for school meals? Ooh. Could we tap in and do something with the front lines, but for the kids, and do school lunches for the kids through the restaurants for days that they're not in school, or something like that? Or sponsor a classroom, and you could have, since you can't do field days out, you could do, something on the lawn of the school, and you provide lunch for that whole classroom from one of the restaurants. And you could do some sort of a teach and learn about, healthy cooking or farm to table, etc.
Maybe a feed the frontline teachers.
Yes.
I've seen it done for teachers, actually. There's an initiative, but if they're not going back, it's tough. But I'm all for, and I've done that in other communities as well. We did it for the frontline. We did it for teachers, but I think for the students is also a huge opportunity.
That's a really cool.
I like that idea.
I do too. That's great.
If that's 2 initiatives that we can work on for going back to the restaurant week, there is definitely, I'd be very hesitant to collaborate during Boston's, because it drives business to Boston. We kind of want to separate that, because then it's going to dilute it, my opinion. And in general, I'm not a fan of restaurant week. I'll be honest, because our prices are usually cheaper than what they do for restaurant week. So it doesn't really seem like a value. However, right now it's time for desperate measures, so we're willing to try anything. And so if we can initiate that conversation, traditionally, I believe they did one in August, maybe March and August, because you want to bring business in on a slower season. November would be the right time, because we're already busier that time of year. So August is usually when it's done, when they do 2 of them a year. This year I haven't heard anything, which is surprising, because we don't want to discount too much, because it really hurts our bottom line. However, we just need to drive traffic right now, and we'll do whatever it takes to just keep, something coming in. So I think both of those are great initiatives that we need to kind of get behind. But that's
so Jennifer, I think we should raise this. Let's continue this tomorrow to Concord Together. You're welcome to join that call. But I could imagine Concord Together putting together a group to basically pursue this idea, because I feel like we've done a lot as a town for the retailers more broadly. It would be fairly simple actually to have a restaurant passport as well, and make, once you get 5 restaurants in your passport, so let's move this discussion to Concord Together tomorrow. And I think it's an excellent idea. I'm really glad you brought it up.
Can I just,
Dawn, is your hand up?
Yes, it is. Thanks. It's a language thing. I know we just passed around the phrase save Concord shops or Save Concord's restaurants, if we can turn it into something like Invest in Concord, where people take ownership of this town that, many of us live in, and we moved here for a specific reason or choose to work here for a specific reason. I think putting that kind of ownership is important, and it sounds more positive perhaps than Save. I love the restaurant week idea, Ramon, and the feeding the teachers or school lunches. The hybrid model for the Concord Public Schools, when the students are in school, my understanding at the high school, if they want lunch, they have to pre-order it, kind of like, I don't know if there's an app, but it all has to be done ahead of time. So I think families will be changing perhaps the way they do lunch, because it won't be so spontaneous through food services. So maybe a once a week partnering with the restaurant might be a really neat idea.
All right, Deborah and then Cato.
So we're talking about restaurants and retail, and as economic vitality, I mean, there are all these office buildings, and I'm just wondering how they're doing and if we're able to do anything to help them. I'm looking in this group, there's some people who have buildings and count on renters. And so I want to be assured that none of them are going out of business too.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice question to ask. Perhaps we can put a question into the survey. I have a couple of questions specifically for landlords, whether office space or retail space.
Yeah. The other thing I want to comment on, I mean, there's been so much positive movement in Concord and with this group, and certainly we all feel we get kudos from people who come into our businesses, but every day somebody comes into our store who hasn't been out, and it's their first time out and first time going anywhere. And you can just tell the way they startle and they move and they're so scared. So I don't know if there's something that we can think of around trying to get people who haven't been out to come out without feeling that terrible sense of fear and anxiety. So I'm raising that. I know we can't solve that today.
It might actually be a question, again, I'm kind of lots of questions for surveys, but it would be interesting for the town to conduct a survey to find out about, the citizens, broadly speaking, kind of their behaviors and their comfort going out. If they aren't going out, is there anything that we can do to make them more comfortable?
I think to Deborah's point, that was something that Stephen started to talk about a while back. Like, yes, economic recovery, yes, get people in stores, but that fear is very real, that uncertainty, the constant change, the kids going back, the kids going out. I think he talked a lot about that in the early part. Like, we want to make sure that that's part of our whole conversation, is this wellness and making sure. I know I had 17 staff at the start of the pandemic, and I have 7. And they're just not coming back. They're not comfortable. They call, they wave from the window, some of them, like, because they all miss this, they're all retirees, my part-time staff. But I think that's very real. And we have a ton of signage about staying safe. We have tons of stores doing the right thing and marking. And I will say that during the pop-up drive-in last week, even though people sat outside their cars, they sat outside their cars far away from other people, and they wore their masks. So I do see most of Concord really well positioned to keep people safe. And I do think the town has put out a lot of social media, but the town of Concord only has like 2,000 followers on their Facebook. So it only reaches those 2,000. So to Ramon's point about social media, like, the town has a public information officer, and she posts shop local like once a week, but it's probably not enough, and there's only a few thousand followers. So,
Cato.
This is Jan, and I want to wait till after Cato because I heard that he was called on, but I can't put my hand up, so maybe I just have a couple of quick things.
Cato.
After Cato.
This was just actually a question for Ramon. I saw Edie Thoreau posted a post last night about a Save the Restaurant Act. It looks like more of a national type thing, but it's designed to help, local restaurants. And I didn't know if you knew anything about that, if it was something that we could get behind, and maybe it's, some sort of fundraiser or something that gives more awareness to that to help the restaurants out. Do you know anything about that at all?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, actually. So there's 2 things about that. One is there is a local initiative And then there is a national one. So the national one is more of like the PPP and the second round funding of that, and some other corrections because of the tax implications of it. So there's some fixes. However, on a local level, there is also a distressed restaurant fund. Both the House and the Senate have already passed different versions of it, and we got some inside information that was going through, so there wasn't necessarily any advocacy or lobbying that needed to be done on our behalf, because that was getting pushed through. But there was some specific, it's a small amount in the big picture, but it may save some smaller restaurants from going out. But as of now, some of those legislative issues, we might need some of our, constituents to be able to get out there and get in the politicians' ears. But as of now, from the local level, I think we're okay. So that seems like it made a lot of progress. So thank you for bringing that up. But if it does come up, if I can forward that to the committee, I will do that if everyone's open to that. Just so because we get them from the Mass Restaurant Association, all the updates, and then also when there needs to be a call to action for us to actually do something about it. So yeah, I will definitely keep everybody informed about that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ramon. Jan.
I just had two quick things. First of all, and I'm glad for that comment because it sounds like this is no conflict at all, but I wanted to affirm what Dawn said about Invest in Concord, and that would definitely include restaurants, include museums, include shops. I mean, just all aspects, because when you think about it, if any one of those sectors somehow falls off the radar, it hurts the town. I mean, people come here because of the history. They want to come. I mean, we have so many people on the grounds of Orchard House, and they'll say, "Oh, well, couldn't you just open up? Couldn't you just have?" And it's very difficult because we have to pay our staff. I don't want to get into the details of that, but you can understand what I mean. I think Invest in Concord is such a great concept, is to keep the beauty of this town. We need every single sector to stay as strong as possible, and we need to keep brainstorming on all of them. So I just want.
That's a great idea.
I love all of. Thank you. Thanks, Dawn, for I think that's great wording. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention quickly is on the social media, when Beth mentioned that the town has about 2,000, but I think all of us have followers. We have many thousands who follow Orchard House, so we could be posting about the town as well, because that's what we're doing right now. Since we're not open, I do a Facebook Live every Sunday. I have a lot of people who either watch in real time or they watch because it's recorded. I would love to be able to slip some things in about the town. So maybe if we all can repost and retweet and, all those things to keep the flow going out to a bigger circle.
That would be something that Mark, you'll go next, but I just want to say to Beth, that would be something for us to talk to Aaron about, potentially essentially packaging little tweets and saying, and if there are people who are willing to retweet or post on Facebook, just to make it really super simple for them to do that.
Yeah, we could have her put them on the town site and then let everybody know to share it from there. That would help. That would help the town site obviously get a lot more people, and it can go in the Visit Concord. Yeah, I find creating people the one and just say share this out works really, really well.
Mark, you were next.
So, and it's primarily a Concord Together issue, but I think there's a Beth concept as well as a small business concept, and that is, I've been into a bunch of shops where I haven't seen a Concord Together logo. And I know that we were sent out sort of the full page, but I'm just wondering if there are any funds available, either through the grants or the private fundraising or the town, where literally we could have, a 10 by 10, laminated Concord Together sign that people can, literally stick on the office or retail or restaurant window. And then to go further, as we drive around town, we see all sorts of signs for all sorts of things. Wouldn't it be appropriate to have lawn signs for Concord Together? We could have buttons. We have I voted buttons. We could have, I supported a Concord business today. We could have T-shirts. We could have hats. Is there more of a grassroots campaign where it's really getting down to the kids, the parents, the residents, making it more sort of visible.
It's a great idea, and I think we'll add that to the Concord Together agenda for tomorrow. We're almost out of time, and I want to be sensitive that we've got a couple of citizens on. Ramon?
Sorry, one more quick thing. As far as the public service announcement, somebody mentioned safety. I think Deborah was talking about people not being comfortable. Can this town, maybe the visitor center, how they do like a, almost like a promo and advertising piece on the town itself, but do one from a safety perspective, like maybe the public channel can do it where they're showing all the local businesses, what people are doing, people coming in with masks, some of the safety measures. Because we just filmed a safety video that we just did, and we're editing that. But to really show our guests and our database, these are all the things that we're doing to give them a little confidence. I don't know if the town can do that and kind of create that, I guess, public service announcement, for lack of a better word, or PR move or something of a commercial to help people feel more confident and comfortable getting on.
Yes, I actually, stealing things from Salem is what I do because I spent so many years there. They just did one, actually, a PSA that's out that says, "We're safe, welcome back, here's what we're doing." I will put in the request for MMTV. I think they could very easily create that. So that's a great idea. I'll put in the request.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. I would like now to move to public comment, just to see if any of our public participants have any questions or comments.
I could say thank you for doing all you're doing. It's Janet Miller.
Thank you, Janet. I'm glad you joined us. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay. In that case, if there's no further business, I have one more question. There was somebody asked me after the last meeting, because it wasn't in the minutes, whether we had discussed changing the time of the meeting. And I think that did come up last time on the 22nd, but I think we all agreed that 4 o'clock is still a good time for this group. So I just wanted to just ask that question one more time to be sure that 4 o'clock does work for everybody.
One thing, if I could ask, I don't know if you already do this, but is there a way to send an invite for this meeting and have the, the details of the Zoom so I can just click on it so it shows up so I can put it in my calendar, or do we just get the email sent out from you guys? I'm new to the group, so.
Ramon, I think that was just an error. I don't think John sent it out to a list, but because I think we were waiting to confirm that you and Jen were sworn in. Right, John? I think Ramon was.
I think Ramon got it actually, but I think
but it's not sent as an invite.
No, you're asking for a calendar invite.
Yeah, I think I would love that too. Actually, I think that'd be great.
I would be happy to make that happen every 2 weeks. So I will, in addition to whichever of us is chairing the meeting, sending out the agenda, I'll take care of getting once we have the Zoom coordinates, we'll send a calendar invite to everybody. But again, go ahead, book this time every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. So you know what's going to happen, because we don't actually get the Zoom coordinates from Jeremy until a couple days before the meeting.
I have to say that this is, I think, the third time I've had trouble coming on. I save the link, I click on it, and I go on, and I'm all by myself. So I know 3 of you resent me links, and I clicked on John's and Jennifer's, didn't get in. I finally got in. Jeremy sent me exactly the same link, and somehow it worked for him. So either I'm an idiot or my computer doesn't like me.
Jeremy's got the magic touch.
What browser are you using, Deborah?
I don't know what the store is using. I use Mozilla at home.
Yeah, sometimes I have trouble with Mozilla. If you try Chrome, sometimes it's easier. I don't know why you're not.
Neither do I, so I apologize for being late.
Oh, don't be sorry. I'm glad you were here.
So just to be clear, let's close the scheduling discussion. I'm going to go ahead and send a repeating invitation to everybody for this time slot, Ramon, and then we'll update it each week as the coordinates for the Zoom call come out. So then those of you who use Google Calendar will have that.
We can actually, if I could just input real quick, we can actually do it so that if it's a recurring meeting, then I can have the link be exactly the same.
Brilliant. Okay, so why don't you send that to me, Jeremy, when you have that link, and then I'll blast it out to everybody.
You got it.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, Mark, I think you raised your hand.
No, so I think it's a moot point, but I was the one who sort of raised this time slot as being problematic, just because, you know, the afternoons are more difficult for me. Wednesdays are not great. So I was wondering, you know, maybe the ship has sailed, but, you know, is midday an option for people? Is midday horrible for people? I just wanted to have that discussion.
So the question is, would midday, let's say noon, be a better time than this? I'd raise your hand if you would prefer noon to 4 o'clock.
Can I make one suggestion?
Yeah.
Maybe for the rest of the summer, the 4 o'clock works well, but as the school plans get more clear, some of the other participants, the 4 o'clock, I have no idea what the schools are going to do, but they're all doing different things, and that may impact Jen's participation and maybe even other events. I don't know, but maybe wait 2 weeks on that vote. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, because it's hard to do this live, if I could ask everyone to email our clerk, Mr. Anderson, with your preference as to whether you are happy with 4 o'clock or prefer noon. That way no one's put in the spot here to try to make a decision. Okay? Jen?
Are those the only two time options?
No, we could do it anytime. So I guess submit your preference, and then I'm going to leave it to the clerk to figure out what the optimal time is for the group.
Okay.
All right. Good. It is 5:15, our stated closing time. So if there is no further business, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Jennifer. Second. We'll give it to Cato.
Second.
Okay. And now I'm going to do we've got to adjourn by roll call vote. So I'm going to go around the window again. Steve? Raise your hand if you support adjournment.
Aye.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Aye.
Ramon?
Aye.
Mark? Dawn?
Aye.
Cato?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Deborah?
Aye.
Jan on the phone?
Aye.
And I will note that, as I said in my email, I realize it's the summer doldrums, but it was great to have so many people on the call, and I think we made a hell of a lot of progress today. Thank you all for a good meeting, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Aye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Aye.